Okay, 4.3, library payroll.
So what had happened is this came up, the library had decertified, so apparently we'd been providing them with payroll services, and we used to charge them $450, and now we haven't been charging them anything for the last couple of years. Do we wanna look at some kind of a fee, even if you're going back and giving them a grant to offset this, we still need to allocate a number to this and have an agreement with them, if this is a service that council wants to continue to provide. Either A, do you want to charge them a fee, or B, do you want to charge them a fee and give them a grant to offset that fee? We need to be looking at some real numbers here.
Because that would be in their grant that they
Yeah.
get from the town. right?
Because we
Included
were
in that.
charging them
Okay.
initially $450,
Okay.
then it went down to nothing, and Jody did some quick calculations on it. It basically costs us $1,524.64 a year.
Well, then we should be charging them and giving them a grant in the same amount. And if that's the way that we're gonna do it, we should be charging them for however we decide to get
Yep.
the money back, whether we do it.
Money in, money out, but there's value attached.
There
So,
is,
yeah,
exactly, because we need to be putting money to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that fee would be full cost.
yeah, that's what it costs us to do that.
Yeah, whatever it costs us gets passed through,
And then you
We
up their
grant
grant
it.
and
Right.
how much.
to offset.
Yep,
that way they always have it on their books and they know what it costs them.
and so do we.
Yeah.
Is that what we're asking? Are we asking for that, or are we asking that they enter a service level agreement and then pay for that service?
You guys
That
need
was
to
both of what I
decide.
asked, like, basically decide if you wanna charge a fee or not, but either way, the fee needs to be charged. It's a matter of, are you gonna reimburse back by a grant, or are you gonna still charge them the fee? Their request is, they want us to continue at no cost, because they said they're already having a hard time meeting their budgetary.
Yeah. So can we provide it at no cost?
Well, no, we can give them a grant and go back to the amount.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
I
that would
think
be-
we have to show the cost. I think we have to show the cost, whether we grant it back to them, but there should be a
Yeah,
line
that's what I
item in
mean,
there.
but I don't think that that should come
their
out
budget.
of their,
Because a lot
No.
of this stuff like,
budget.
gets taken for granted, right? Like,
Right.
we do this stuff and
Is
it's.
that a play on words? Okay, just checking.
No. But we're doing these things and it's just part of kit and caboodle and whatever, but there needs to be, there is value to the services that we're providing. and it
we
needs
should be able
shown.
to track them, yeah, for sure.
We just went through this last year in terms of not giving away free ice time. We went through this last year in terms of, all kinds of things. We have to show value, Trappers Festival. So, so long as we show the value and give it to the grant, then it's fine.
But this should almost be the same for recreation. Jody and I had talked about this, for recreation, for the museum, for everybody that we're doing this with.
Yeah.
Because the way we're doing this now, that's not very good accounting. We have
Well,
no idea what it
recreation, though,
costs.
they're employees of the town.
So
The
but
library, they're not.
still-
So is the library.
Are they
Yeah.
town employees?
But it's all grants to the town.
They're paid through the town. It's all grants through the town, they're all paid through the town.
Yeah, but the library work pays.
They're
back
all-
to their payroll.
But
No, they don't.
it's
No, they
all
don't.
consolidated
That's what we're
with
just
our
talking about.
financial statements at the end of the day.
They
We
get
pay all
it,
their.
they get their grant.
Okay, well, only one at a time can talk.
Okay.
That's the way it works. So Jody, you go
Yeah,
first.
we pay all of their CRA expenses. Everything's consolidated at the end of the year through year-end audit. Everything's consolidated, so if they show a deficit, it becomes ours. They are Town of the Paw. Their business number may be under, their business number may say library, but it's Town of the Paw, CRA, library. So they're all our employees.
So the town of the Paw provides a grant to the library, and
Oh, excuse me.
the town of the Paw provides payroll services for the library,
Yep.
which then in turn sends a bill to the library.
No,
Yes,
we don't
Yes.
charge them for it.
Yes,
yes,
Yeah, it
we
is.
send them
We
a
send them
bill for the
for-
payroll amount.
for the payroll money that's exchanged,
Exactly.
not for the service of doing payroll.
They don't work for the town. They're
No,
paid
they're
through
theirs,
the town.
correct.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, is that the library works for themselves. The library is accountable to their board.
Is not the
Yeah,
library
never mind.
incorporated? I'm under the assumption that the library
I believe
is
it is
incorporated.
isn't it?
That makes it standalone from us. We grant to and money goes back and forth, but they have authority that we don't. We just control the money.
At the end of the day, Town of the Paw deposits money into those employees' bank accounts. So regardless if we say it's at an arm's length, they're still, at the end of the day, when we consolidate everything, it's still a Town of the Paw operation.
So you want to know two things, right? One, we should have a service level agreement with every one we fund.
If we're gonna
Or
be
if
doing
you're gonna
payroll
do
for
payroll
one,
services, right?
and we're doing it for everybody the
So
same
is
way.
everyone in
For
agreement with that? Or
consistency.
we should be,
That's-
we should be.
It should be, yeah, it should be the complete opposite of that, though. It should be just like, because the recycle center was almost that way, and we pulled it back entirely. We said, sorry, you're out, not in a mean way, just you guys need to operate and do your stuff, and bring us the budget and the funding, and handle everything. And that model is working beautifully. It took some effort up front to make it work. It takes a functioning board, which the library has. And at the end of the day, those expenses that exist will still end up coming out in the wash of the budget and coming, but it creates the opportunity for the library board to go out to other possible revenue sources with an entirely independent budget and request additional funding. So unless there's some reason under like the Libraries Act, or, because they get provincial funding and stuff, and I'm not sure.
But they're also under the municipal pension plan, and they're also under the Great West benefits, which,
All of that should change.
right, we have long-term employees there as well that have been paying into a pension plan so far under that model.
It would be easy to break that open.
So,
It's something that should be explored, is what I'm suggesting.
Exactly.
And I get that there may be
And I
reasons why
think
that can't happen in
for
here.
consistency, we should be doing all of the grant funding the same way and not picking and choosing, saying, because everyone's done different.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they're not town employees, the town operations shouldn't be doing the administration for the place. That's what it amounts to.
We're acting as a Ceridian or ADP or whatever payroll service you want to say, that's all that we're realistically
Yeah.
providing for them, but
Well,
we're
but
going a
not,
step
because
further
But
because.
that and more.
they're-
by taking the
they're part of it in the
responsibility of
pension
their
plan.
source deductions, under our name, they are our employees at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If for some
If
reason
there's a
there was,
shortage, we have to
if
cover
there
it.
was some reason at the end of the day, there was an error made or anything in regards to source deductions or anything, the town of the Paw would be 100% liable for any fines or anything like that. So it's just the way we have them set up, everyone's
And
different.
did we do that with the museum? We do all their payroll?
Mhm.
Okay, that's interesting, eh, so, and yet,
And we
okay,
also
I'm
do
thinking out loud,
request
this is
grant.
wrong.
It should be explored. I mean, I think, in my opinion, the model that we are after for third-party service situations, such as the library and the museum and the recycle center and any other number of groups that could come to us and say, well, hey, can you just put us on our payroll? We're providing the community with some kind of necessary service. We wouldn't do that, you know, if TPCRC came to us and said, hey, we'd like you guys to handle all this stuff, we would say,
Not likely.
sorry, guys, we got lots going on, we're not gonna take that in. It's really no different. I say it's really no different, but libraries are slightly different because they are, I don't know, there's funny stuff about how they get funding and things like that. And there are legacy issues, like they used to be town employees, and they've contributed to MEBP, and they're part of the benefits program, so those aren't things you just kick to the curb, they have to be figured
Yeah,
out.
that's what I was gonna say. My big concern
Yeah.
with any of this is to ensure that their pension isn't affected by
Yeah,
this.
absolutely, I mean, so it's not a case of, surprise, here's the decision,
Yeah.
and there's where you go, but it should be
It's a
explored.
big concern.
And discussed with the board at the library, and identified why this is being discussed and what the outcome should be. And even from a straight, never mind the financial liabilities situation, but also from a workplace safety and health standpoint or whatever. I mean, you know, we ran through that with the recycle center where there was issues, and workplace safety and health identified the town of the Paw as the employer when we had no care and control over what was going on out there.
Well, but
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so, and that was the driving, you know, that was the driving factor behind choosing to engage this model with the recycle center. Because if we didn't have care and control over how the operation was being run, then we needed to be completely separated from them in the administration of the place. And that model was working fine, provided that the board is able to provide good governance
Yeah.
and work with employees.
It's an all in, all out type of situation.
Basically.
It has to be.
Yeah. In my opinion, that's the model we should be chasing after in all instances. Was there an answer to the question at all in there?
No, really, I'm like, we're looking at each other going, so.
Let's hope that she He had some.
Thank you for your
insight.
thought process.
Squirrel.
Well, I think it's like, I don't know, it's one of those requests that you think would just kind of be like, yes or no, but then you start thinking about it and talking about it and it's way more complicated
To
than.
get to your model, which would be great, it's gonna take a lot of time. You guys need an answer in the interim. So if the answer in the interim is that, yes, we should be charging them, or we should have a service level agreement, then we should do that.
Then we should do
and
that.
continue, so instead of like holding everything moving. So to me, if that
I guess
answers question one.
Yeah, but I guess moving forward, are we then going to move forward service level agreements with everybody, or do we want to move forward to the other funding model?
What's the other funding model, sorry?
One that is more consistent with the way we fund Recycle Center.
Well, I think
If
so.
that's the path we want to move forward to, then, you know, it's extra work to start doing service level agreements with all the other grants and,
I think that's the way that we want to move forward, with the exception of KFC. Because I don't think we want to.
KRC doesn't have a commission anymore, so it doesn't function the same.
Well, I know, but there's some grants right now as well.
Yep.
But that might change.
But when they don't exist, you can't grant them anything.
Well, now they just become a department like Public Works and Maintenance, right? Where they have a budget line, because we don't give them a grant anymore. They're not a recreation commission, right?
It would be a recreation department.
They're like a
just-
department.
It will be
Yeah,
recreation
they'll be a
department.
They're a
yeah.
department, they'll have a department budget like every other
Well,
department,
they,
right?
oh, okay, so they won't be granted anymore.
But I just wanna be like, I don't know, like for me, having been like on the other side where I've worked for like a nonprofit organization where like with the museum where they only have like a couple employees, like it's really hard to get benefits for a business or a nonprofit organization or whatever when you only have a couple of employees. And B, if we're gonna get them, and again, I'm gonna use the museum to be in charge of their own payroll, like that's gonna add like a big expense for them for like 2 or 3 employees. Like it is, you can shake your head no, but like it will, because the people that work at the museum aren't qualified to do payroll, so they're going to have to get somebody to do their payroll for them and to do their source deductions for them and to do their T4s for them and to do all of that sort of
I'm not
stuff,
saying
so.
that the town, like, we're not saying that the town can continue to do that.
But if we're saying we wanna go towards the recycle center model, which that's how the recycle center model is set up, that might not work for those types of organizations, like the
If you're
museum.
going to that model, the town's not doing payroll.
Yeah, that's
The
what,
town can still do payroll.
No, you
The
can't.
town
Because
never
you're
did
setting yourself up
recycling
for
center payroll,
You don't,
ever.
then you're not separate. So you're either all in or all out. I mean, there is no in between. It
No.
can't be, well, we're all out except we do payroll for you. It just doesn't work.
I think a question comes down to one of two things. Either they remain as they are and they're an independent corporation, or they become a department within the town. And then we don't have to worry
I don't
about the
think
boards
they
and stuff. Why are we wasting time with that?
yeah, they probably wouldn't.
There's a good chance they
Exactly.
wouldn't get the
It's a slippery
grants.
slope I'm worried about.
So,
We wouldn't get the grants.
All I'm
Right.
saying in this case, honestly, all I wanna know is, do you wanna charge them back or not?
Well, I think
I
that
would
we
say-
need to show that.
Yeah, you need to fund it, you need to charge it back, so it's not an extra expense to them, but so that it shows the value on the books when they do their budget. So that if you're reaching towards the model of being completely exclusive of the town, then that board sees entirely what the cost is of running that facility. And that was the first step that we took with the recycle center, because we were getting gas from the town and we weren't being charged, we weren't paying back the mortgage to the town and the loans.
Yeah.
We were taking the trucks into the mechanics, and they were fixing them, and they weren't billing hours back to the recycle center, and it wasn't until we started extracting all that cost out did the true cost of recycling be able to come to the surface.
Yeah.
It would actually.
Which is
cost.
exactly what Jody's trying to do in these
Yeah.
cases.
And again, that's valuable information, to show the true cost of what it
It's
costs to
important.
run the library.
and I'd also like to move that forward with the museum as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so, and it also is overinflating the costs to the town of the Paw of our payroll services.
It is, yeah.
Right, because we don't have
Well,
anything
when
that,
the CFIB or whatever that tax guys, they land-based us every year on our
GST.
ninth worst, whatever.
See,
We don't have all these hidden things that exist.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
So-
Canadian Revenue
Canadian
Agency.
Canadian Federation of Independent
Yeah.
Business.
Oh, those guys, yeah.
Yeah. But my
they've
point
got
is,
good points to make.
just want to make sure we're clear though, we're not talking about adopting this model to somehow diminish service provision by the museum or the library. This is about recognizing true cost of the service being provided and making sure that those groups are autonomous and independent, potentially in the future, if it can be done without causing harm to the abilities of those employees to still have benefits or wages or whatever.
Okay. Bam, beaten to death.
Now we know what we're doing?
Yeah,
sorta.
sorta.
Yeah.
Well, we know we're doing this short term
Yeah,
for sure.
interim, right?
Yeah. Okay, purchasing clerk. Jody wants one.
I'm gonna speak a little and I'll ask you, Jody, to jump in on this. We have a ton of inventory to do at the garage. We've got an inventory out in the yard. We've had our public works foreman do quite a cleanup of the facility. And we are having our staff person that leaves for a month. They have holidays up to 6 weeks plus. They're gonna be going on holidays. This staff person is also at any time ready to retire. We have no one trained to even move on in that position when they go. We're leaving ourselves in a very vulnerable spot should they decide to retire. And this is part of our planning moving forward to ensure that the position is filled. Jody, I know you would probably like to add a little bit more onto this also.
One of the things too is about, I guess my big, is about efficiencies, making sure that we're efficient as possible when we're doing something. Currently, I find we're definitely effective, we're getting the orders in, we're doing the tenders, but we're not doing it in the best way we possibly could. When we implemented VATM, there's a lot of features in VATM in regards to purchasing that can be used that we are not utilizing whatsoever. And it's one of the biggest reasons that a lot of the stuff needs to be set up, right? And you can't just do it off the side of your desk in order to do it correctly. It needs to have time and effort put into it. So we definitely need that moving forward to ensure that we are getting the best, basically, bang for our buck that we are spending.
And let's face it, right now, a lot of the departments, he's got stuff on his plate and now our department heads are ordering stuff because they can't wait.
Yeah.
And that's also creating, maybe we're not getting the best bang for our buck
I agree.
because
I agree.
we're doing it kinda not to
And
the best of
moving
our
forward-
abilities.
Moving forward, if we are looking for ways to reduce our spend, purchasing is one of the easiest ways to find cost savings. We can keep looking at finding more revenues, we can keep looking at doing things differently, but what we're purchasing, entering into purchasing contracts with vendors, single sourcing things so that we're not, every time we need to buy something, running for three quotes, is really a better way to be purchasing than how we're currently doing it. But we do need resources in order to get our department from where it is to where I would like it to be.
And this would be kind of almost like in an interim, get us caught up, and then by that time,
A succession planning.
once
It
the
is.
person retires, then this position's no longer gonna be.
Yeah.
Thoughts around the table?
Post the job description.
How long is the position going to exist then? That's a
Long as
trick
it
question,
takes.
because it could be a 1 or 2 month.
It could be a 2-year thing.
I would really hope it would be longer than 1 or 2 months, just being that there's a lot to learn in regards to municipal purchasing, and we need somebody in their training for longer than 1 or 2 months. Learning the system, purging the inventory.
Just doing
everything that needs to
inventory,
be-
you almost need someone in there minimum of a year.
Yes, I would definitely like to plan for a year. We don't have that luxury of knowing when it's gonna be done.
Margaret?
Well, Jody's been talking about this for over a year, and she's made some really good points. And like I said, if this gentleman decides tomorrow I'm going to retire,
All we have to do is give 2 weeks.
Yep.
yep.
Sadly.
It's not good. And it's
Yeah.
just, it's not a little department, it's not
It's
one
unionized.
desk. Oh, you're gonna fill that desk, it's
Isn't
huge.
the labor laws in
2 weeks.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
the labor code said it based on.
Unless you-
Okay, let's post it then.
The only concern I have with this is just that it just seems super open-ended, right? Like, I just don't know, I'm fine with having a purchasing clerk in the interim or as, but it worries me a little bit that once the purchasing agent retires, that the purchasing clerk would just work into that position, but then what would happen to the purchasing clerk position?
It would be deleted, that's what she said in here. And just to give you some information, up until about 4 years ago, we did have someone that was half-time as a purchasing clerk.
Okay.
That was probably 4 years ago.
Yeah, at
And
least.
we had advertised the position as a half-time, nobody wanted it, so we just kind of phased it out, which could be maybe one of the reasons why we're kind of in the dilemma we're in.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna stay on this topic, okay?
Just
Yeah?
one last question with regard to process here, if we're bringing someone in with the intention of training them to assumably take over a position, can we hire them with that situation, given that they meet all the tests along the way, that they're guaranteed the position? That it's not a case of, well, you have to, now that you've been here and we've trained you up, now you have to apply. Because to me, that's really contrary to what we're trying to do.
I
Well,
think the union would let you.
you know what, you do, I
It's not-
don't know, you post in-house for sure,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
And,
Anytime the vacation,
It has to.
position becomes vacant, you would have to post it.
Oh, okay.
the good part is if you already have someone in place, you can't guarantee them they're gonna get that job. But when it comes and you're advertising it, there's a good chance they're gonna get it because they already have the knowledge.
Right, but the other thing too, and I guess I'm just thinking, the potential of having a discussion with the union with regard to how to maybe enter into something where they get a new member that is longer than 2 months or 2 years, whatever, and they may agree, or at least consider whether or not an arrangement can be made that you hire them to backfill that position as soon as it becomes available. That's just a suggestion anyway.
a lot of ifs in there.
Doesn't matter, well, if you don't ask, you don't get it.
No, I know, that's true enough, yeah, I believe that.
Because
Okay.
I think if I'm applying for a job, well, 2 months or 2 years like that, why would I even go there?
Which is why we had the position vacant,
Yeah.
is because nobody wanted it for half-time and you don't know how long it's gonna be.
Well, that's right, and the other thing with this is potentially a model for other key positions as well.
That's where we're lacking is
And,
people give notice and then we're scrambling and you gotta kinda, everybody jumps in and tries and fixes it. Well, in this case, there's almost no one over there to fix it. It'll be yourself, which
I'll
does
be
not
over
have
there,
any
yeah.
time.
Mhm.
That's not a good idea. Okay, post it. Payroll and accounts. Boy, you're just on top of it.
So we would be looking at a resolution for general checks in the amount of $767,163.03, Kelsey Rec for $127,375.71, and electronic funds transfers in the amount of $33,644.44. You're gonna notice that some of the bigger bills, oh my goodness, you know what I'm thinking of. The bigger bills are airport fuel and pretty much $500,000 for debenture payments.
Yeah.
And $83,000 to get us an inventory of sand and jetstone for winter months. So there's
What winter is that? We're having winter this year.
sand and jetstone.
What's Jetstone?
It's basically like crumbly gravel.
For the runway. But it's not really gravel,
Yeah.
Cool.
it's fancy stuff. Expensive.
Is it?
Okay, resolution.
How much is it?
Finance
Question
reports.
about debentures.
Yep.
Now we passed, how we apply for the hotel tax towards debentures.
Pardon me?
Remember, 2 weeks ago, we passed the
Yep.
resolution for applying a portion of quarter of the hotel tax towards the debentures. When's that gonna start?
2017.
2017.
That's for 2017 budget.
Can't start now.
Pardon?
Can't
Well,
start
no,
No.
because people have already paid their taxes, right?
We've already set the mill rate
now. Right,
for 2016, right?
but if it hasn't been used, right?
But the residents have already paid the taxes to
They've
pay on
already
that?
paid the taxes to fund the debentures.
And you can't not use it because it's
Yeah, well, I
technically
get
illegal.
that, but we could still start applying that immediately.
No,
No.
not until 2017,
Why?
because we're taking it
Because
from
you
the
already
reserve
taxed
fund.
them.
I realize
Yeah.
that, but it's not enough to offset the full amount, but it's not like you're taking out the full debenture. So if you have a fund sitting there with however much money is in there, take that amount today and apply it towards that, so you go into next year.
You can't.
Why?
That's
can't do
just,
a
that's
one-time
just a
balloon
cash
payment?
flow right now,
Yeah.
that's just a cash flow, so we don't need to be doing that right now, we need to use that to
Right.
decrease
Yeah.
basically the amount required to fund the debenture
But
payment
the
for
accommodation fee is
2017.
not coming from
Yeah.
local tax.
So that part of it has to
But
be
the
done in the
taxpayers have
2017
already
budget.
paid their taxes. It's
But we would always be a year behind anyway.
So-
We're going to be, yeah.
Yeah, we'd be using
Okay.
2016 and 2017.
And that's-
Yeah, what are you gonna do, start
Yeah.
issuing people
2016
checks and
funds
then how do you
collected, we're
decide
going
who
to
gets
get
how
some-
much?
Okay, we've got 6 conversations going on again. I don't know how that happens, but it does. I prefer to hear from you. Okay, so we'll have a resolution. pay the bills, okay? Now we move on to the finance reports, July, August, September.
Looking through the finance reports, everything is pretty much up to par. I noticed that, protective services was over due to overtime for RCMP, and also we paid out a, overtime for fire chief, which normally we don't have. Revenues are also down because there is billing, like late billings in the fire department. But I don't know if there's anything that jumps out at you, Jody?
So in addition to vacation payout too. that-
Yeah.
then- yeah.
The RCMP overtime is a huge one for us.
Cut to stuff.
That's to September 30, so we're
Yep.
gonna see protective services go way over as a result.
You got her.
But that's not the full year budget though. That's just.
To September.
That's the full,
That's
that's
your full
September
budget.
30 budget and September 30
The
actuals.
actual.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, good thing, the agile operation, it's, 50%, almost 50% over budget.
Where?
Under transportation services, fifth line down for agile operation, budget 67,539,
Oh, yeah.
actual 95,702, over budget by 28,164. That's, it's 40% over budget, 45% over budget.
I'd have to look into it and
You
get
don't
back
know
to
what
you
it
at
is
the next
offhand?
meeting.
No, okay. So that's still not-
Yeah, feel free, guys, like, even before you hit the table, feel free to give Jody a call and she could get that stuff all for you at the meetings. Or call her tomorrow too, by all means. So that was one of the only things that really jumped out at me anyway.
Okay,
So resolution to accept those.
yeah. Okay, motion to move in camera.
Be it resolved that we now do move to the in-camera portion of our meeting to discuss matters, with Mayor Scott and the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
You have to learn that, Brian.
What?
Brian's got to learn that.
What?
Doesn't
Oh,
have to
yeah.
be the deputy mayor that says it.